Welcome, Dr. Grossman.
Okay. Thank you, Judge and Commissioners, for the opportunity to speak before you. As with the last time I called in, I'm calling in to be very critical of your financial decisions, except, of course, Ileana Holguin, who is the commissioner who has been the voice of reason for the last several months. So we're looking at $894.4 million in bonds that have been or are about to be authorized by the Commissioners Court. $323.8 million in GOs, $396.6 million for UMC. We all know that a $174 million CO is coming through the pipeline, and that would be $894.4 million if all of that gets approved, which would generate about $1.5 billion, maybe a bit more, in principal and interest at current interest rates. The county has a maximum bonding capacity of $500 million, as you've been told by your bond counsel, and you've also been told that you cannot issue $1 beyond that in debt until 2030. And so you are maxed out in terms of your bonding capacity for the next 6 years. Otherwise, you would risk a credit down rate from Fitch, Moody's, and S&P. And that brings me to the Deck Plaza. The county is poised to sponsor the Deck Plaza, even as TxDOT would own it, okay? Now, if you've read my emails, you know that Stantec came back with a figure of $412 million in 2027 dollars for the cost of this project. And I have the documentation. I've shared it with the public and the media. You were told $207 million by Tracy Yellen, Betsy Keller, and many other people. That number is a number that was arbitrary and invented, right? I spoke to the city manager. I spoke to a lot of people, including Tracy Yellen, and nobody can explain to me how you get from $412 million to $207 million. Well, we'll eliminate the public-private partnerships and so on, but the fact is that $412 million figure was not a draft. That is the number, okay, that you paid Stantec to produce, that Yellen's group did. In that $1.3 million feasibility study. You should all be very alarmed about that. Have you seen the $412 million figure with the itemized breakdown of costs? Have you asked how you get from $412 million to $207 million? Now, a few points here. The Dallas Deck Plaza, Clyde Warren Park, costs $5 million a year to operate. That's a 3-block park. We're talking about building a 5-block park with a lot of stuff on top that will probably cost at least double to operate, okay? I spoke to Tracy Yellen 2 Thursdays ago, and I'm going to tell you something really important. I hope you're listening. Tracy Yellen told me point blank that the county will be legally responsible for any cost overrun on this Deck Plaza, as well as annual MNO, if you agree to sponsor the project. That should be really sobering, considering the potential for a 9-figure cost overrun. TxDOT will own that Deck Plaza, which means that if there's maintenance required, like repouring a support or differential settlement that requires demolition, any assets on top of the deck park can be lost. And TxDOT is not going to guarantee its work to safeguard the assets that are built on top of it. Yellen also told you that she wants a TERS, a quarter mile on either side of the Deck Plaza. The city just eliminated TRZ2. They just eliminated the TERS because it was a money loser. In any case, you've been saying, several of you, Coronado, Samaniego, that the Deck Plaza is a game changer. It's going to increase property tax revenues. You created TERS, you've just given away those property tax revenues. You've just given away the windfall for who knows how many years. It gets reabsorbed by the TERS rather than ending up in the county coffers. The bottom line is, ladies and gentlemen, what are you going to do when you face a cost overrun in the hundreds of millions of dollars plus MNO of $10 million a year or more, when you cannot bond a single dollar more between now and the year 2030? You should not sponsor this thing. You should not sponsor this thing at all. And quite frankly, city staff, and I'm talking about Ms. Keller, should be telling you this and looking at your finances and advising you that it's inadvisable to proceed with sponsorship of a Deck Plaza, no matter how much you want it, okay? Now, I've been very disappointed with this Commissioners Court, with the exception of Ileana Holguin, on fiscal matters. And I'm not alone. I mean, there are thousands and thousands of El Pasoans who are wondering what you're doing with this much bonding, right, for a lot of non-essential projects. And I want to remind you that Judge Samaniego told the El Paso Times in 2018, May 14th, that he was committed to, quote, holding the line on taxes, unquote. And Sergio Coronado, for example, told the El Paso Times in an article published October 19th, 2022, quote, I will try to maintain property taxes
Dr.
as
Grossman,
low as possible,
Dr. Grossman, you're out of time, and just in
Yes, sir.
fairness to the process, I apologize, but if you want to wrap it up real quick, I'm willing to do that.
Thank you, sir, and I appreciate the opportunity. That's all I have to say. I just hope that those on the Commissioners Court I'm criticizing will remember their campaign promises that are in writing that were made to our local media, and think of the taxpayers when they issue this much debt, and think of the taxpayers when they think about sponsoring a project of this magnitude that threatens to sink your bond rating. Thank you so much. God bless. Have a great day.
Thank you, Dr. Grossman. Betsy, there's a couple of things that were mentioned. Could you sort of fact check them to make sure that the public is really getting the right information other than singular comments? So, but we'll work on that discussion. Thank you,
Yes, sir,
Betsy.
we'll bring that item, we'll place an item back.
Thank you, Betsy.
Betsy, for the record, when we go out for general obligation bonds, the court is not issuing these bonds, are they? That's depending on the voters. All these 600 and 700 million, right?
Correct. You order an election,
It's up to the taxpayers to decide this, not us.
correct.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.